Oh, there's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Well, hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with another tag. This is a tag that somehow slipped by me a month or so ago when it first came out. It was originally a video by Britta Bowler, which I rarely miss, but I think I actually did start watching this. But I didn't realize that Steve Donahue subsequently weaponized it into a tag. And so this is the short and sweet book tag, where you talk about a handful of books that are short and sweet and pass the tag on. So here I am belatedly. I know that we had Nov and there was another shorty September thing, so I'm a bit late for all that, but goodness, one can fit short books in around the edges at any old time, so I don't think I'm late at all. I've chosen exclusively fiction and mostly novellas, or, you know, very short novels, with a couple short story collections for good measure. I have a stack of 10 short but sweet books. They're not sweet in the sense that most of them don't have happy endings, because hello, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. I read literary fiction. And 2 that I'm looking forward to reading and may already have started by the time this video goes live. Because I have so many short little books to talk about, I'm not going to spend very much time on any of them, and in fact many of these I have reviewed, so there'll be links to the Goodreads but also to my full reviews. First up, from India, Gachar Gochar by Vivek Shambhag, translated from the Canada by Swineth Perur. This is a fabulous novella, a recently enriched Indian family. And there are dark themes and an interesting frame around it. And I know that there's a few readers out there that were, after 118 pages, left wanting more. And I thought it just sang at the length that it was. And I loved the darkness lurking beneath what on the surface was kind of a rags to riches story. And I cannot wait to see what Vivek Shambhag does next. Well, what gets translated next. This, as far as I understand it, is the first work of literature to be translated from the Canada language into English. And I absolutely loved it. I have a full review, which you can watch if you so choose. This is a novella from Japan, The Hunting Gun by Yasushi Inoue, translated from the Japanese by Michael Emmerich. And I love this. This is an epistolary novella, and there are, I forget how many letters, 3 or 4 letters, and one of them is from a man to his mistress's children, I don't remember. It's been a few years since I read it. And then letters back and forth between family members and people connected to the adulterous lovers. And the vibrations between the letters, I want to say that the vibrations, there was a hum between the letters, but that is far too calm of a verb. It was more like a ricochet than a hum. Oh my god, this was just taut with jealousy and all kinds of fabulous emotions like that. You gotta read it. From Spain, Such Small Hands by Andrés Barba, translated from the Spanish by Lisa Dillman. No, this is not about Trump. This is about a young girl who, as a result of childhood trauma, requires institutionalization, and then it is the interpersonal dynamics between her and the other child residents of this institution, and it was so psychologically complex and dark that I'm almost embarrassed to say how entertaining I thought it was. I have still yet to read anything more by Barba, but this one, the psychology of it, and I don't know why I'm laughing, but I guess I'm laughing because it was funny as well as being really dark and disturbing. Not the kind of thing that I would have ever thought would have been such a Sean book, and it totally was. A Tomb for Boris Davidovich by Danilo. I had to do a deep dive on Google. Well, I don't know how deep it was. I had to go to Wikipedia to find out who the translator was. It's translated from the Serbian by Duška Mikić-Mitchell. The translation was published in 1978. This was the first anything that I read by Danilo. This is a series of interconnected short stories, all of which are about Russia and the Russian Revolution and the aftermath thereof. And I think it's one of the most stunning collections of linked short stories that I've ever read. Especially if you are interested in Russia and the Russian Revolution, which I sort of am. I studied it a great deal as an undergrad, but more than needing an interest in Russian history, if you appreciate what a short story cycle can do, this is a work of beauty that I picked up for $1 in Tokyo, 100 yen at a used bookstore, and that price tag is so old I don't think I'll ever get it off. But it started me on a reading project of reading all of Danilo Kish's works that I haven't gotten to one this year, but this is the first year in the last 4 that I haven't. It's early November. I might be able to squeeze one in yet, but this, I think, is his masterpiece. Absolutely fantastic. A fairly recent Canadian novel that I have talked a lot about on my channel, and I do have a full review, so I will just kind of show it here. The Student by Cary Fagan, that is about a young Jewish Canadian woman studying English literature at the University of Toronto in about 1960. And all the stuff, anti-Semitic, but mostly misogynistic social forces at work to keep her from achieving what she wants. It is a masterful novella that got all the way inside me when I read it in 2019, and it's still there. Check it out. I have a full review of this as well. Die, My Love by Ariana Harwicz, translated from the Spanish by Sarah Moses and Carolina Orloff. Oh my god, this was amazing. Nominated, I don't think it won, for the Man Booker International Prize. It's about an Argentinian woman and her French husband living, I believe, in the countryside of France. It's a first-person narrative, and she is having a lot of mental health issues. And the way that comedy is woven through her story, I think, is not politically incorrect, although some might think so. But it's comic. It's not unlike any book I've ever read, and this one hasn't stuck with me because I don't think I really understood half of what I was reading at the time. I just remember how I felt reading it, where it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe how deeply I am going into this woman's psyche as she is having breakdown after breakdown and marriage breakdown, marital breakdown episode after marital breakdown episode, and I am laughing and I am horrified at the same time. Die, My Love. It's all there in the title. From Australia, Helen Garner's The Spare Room. I did this as a buddy read. Some of the other ones I did as buddy read, so I won't always remember to mention that. But this was a buddy read with, at that time, my new friend, Natalie, of Natalie Marie's channel. And it was a bonding experience between us, and it was an unforgettable novel about I can't remember if the protagonist is a divorcee or a widow, but she's maybe in her 50s or 60s, and her old friend wants to come stay with her in that Australian city while she's getting alternative treatments for cancer. And so, of course, the protagonist lets this friend come, but the more she hears about and witnesses about these alternative treatments, they're completely whacked. Snake oil, her friend is being taken advantage of. And what do you do in a situation like that when your friend is spending her entire fortune on just whacked out, stupid stuff that is not going to help her at all? What do you do? That's what the novel's about. It is so compelling and emotionally satisfying. I loved it so much. The Spare Room. I have a joint review with Natalie that I will link below. Weep Not Child by Ngugi wa Thiong'o from Kenya. His debut novel, one of my very most favorite African novels. Originally published in 1964, and at that time he was going by the name James Ngugi. He is now, of course, known as Ngugi wa Thiong'o and one of the world's greatest living writers, and it all started with Weep Not Child. What I remember most about reading this was thinking This is one of the best post-colonial novels I've ever read, and I've read quite a few other post-colonial novels since, and I would still say the same thing. If you haven't read anything by Watayongo, this is the place to start, and then just keep going. Next, a 1932 Welsh novel. Well, actually, the writer, it's more complicated than that, but let's just say a 1932 Welsh novel, Country Dance by Margiad Evans. I have a full review that's a joint review with Charlotte of, at that time her channel was known as Tired Mama Tries to Read, and she has updated her channel title, and I don't have it in my head, but it's a little bit more optimistic, the title of her channel. And we did this as a buddy read, actually with Anja Beyond the Pages, if I remember correctly. And it is set quite a bit earlier, maybe mid-19th century, and it's set on the border between Wales and England. And I believe that the author, Margiad Evans, is English, but lived much of her life in Wales. And all of the characters, one of the most fascinating things about it, and when you if you watch the video, really don't worry about listening to what I have to say. Go directly to what Charlotte has to say, because she studied this book. She has done a lot of academic research on it. And so, my God, what an amazing buddy read that was, because she explained so many things about the Welsh language in the book and all the stuff. The artwork on the cover is by Margiad Evans. I think that she was probably more of a writer than an artist, but it's kind of, kind of primitively interesting. All of the Welsh characters, and you need to kind of know this because I don't think you'd ever figure it out, but Charlotte knew, and she told us, so she explained it. So all of the Welsh characters in this novel are living in England, and all of the English characters are living in Wales. And once you have kind of a grip on that, this whole thing about border literature, it's just incredible, and also very dramatic, and a very quick read, and with all kinds of stuff about language and colonialism. Absolutely fabulous. This is the book number 10 of the books that I have read and very much recommend. This is Nagasaki by Éric Faye. Éric Faye is a French writer, and this is a book with Japanese characters. It's based on a true story that happened before I lived in Japan. So this has a translator, right? Translated from the French by Emily Boyce. As one would expect, it is set in Nagasaki, and it is about a true story about a man. In the novel, he's a meteorologist. I don't know if that's true in real life, but it was the true story is that a man in Nagasaki who lived alone, middle-aged man, who worked very hard at his job and would come home late and this and that, and he didn't realize for weeks, if not months, that he had a homeless woman living in the house with him. And it took him a long time to figure out, and that's what the story's about. And I read it many years ago. It would repay a reread, but I was blown away by it when I read it. The French edition came out 2012, and this translation 2014, and I just recently found out somewhere along, I think on Goodreads, that Éric Faye has a new book in English translation, so I must check that out. So those are, I could make another 10, another 30 short but sweet reads to recommend to you, but that's enough for this video. And here are two that I will be starting before the month of November is out. This one is a buddy read, my first ever, with Ben of Doom Antidote, a Jean Rhys novella, After Leaving Mr. Mackenzie, originally published in 1931. It's about a British woman in Paris who has run out of luck and run out of her looks, and there's no more men in Paris to take care of her, and she goes home to visit her ailing mother, and plot ensues. This will be my first anything by Jean Rhys. I am so excited! And a buddy read that I think will be starting at the very end of November, but continuing into December. A novella or novel, short novel, from the Faroe Island, a Faroese writer. The Old Man and His Sons by Heðin Brú, translated from the Faroese by John F. West. And it is about a vanishing generation of Faroese people. The main character is a 70-year-old man who, with his wife and their young son, are attempting to pay off all their debts and continue their lifestyle, which is a traditional lifestyle. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. I am looking forward to diving in with Roz very soon. So, I have to tag people. So I'm going to tag, I don't know who among my more established booktuber friends have done it, but I'm tagging all of you, any of you who are interested. I want to tag new or new-to-me booktubers. So, Shelley Swearingen, if I'm pronouncing that right. Bokens and Books, if I'm pronouncing that right. Oh dear, I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these people's channel names. Michelle Lexi. Fraser Simons. Brandon of Brandon's Bookshelf. Well, he is not a new-to-me booktuber, but he still deserves a lot more subscribers than he has, and he's a fabulous booktuber, an American guy in China, Bits of Lit, and I would be interested to see what he has to say. Of course, Marilyn Maya Mendoza, Gina Stanier Books, Ms. Reads a Lot. I think that's enough. Anybody else? Please do the tag, and I am auto-tagging you as well. Thanks for watching.